Smriti had been feeling dejected for a week. Her only daughter was not talking to her properly, and because of that, she couldn't concentrate on work, had lost her appetite and sleep, and was completely worn out. Seeing her mother in this state, Ranjani too felt restless inside. Just a loving word could solve everything, but her feelings of resentment held her back. Compared to the suffering she had endured for so many years, how big was this issue? This thought made her heart grow even harder. After all, she is my mother. No matter how much I hate her, how can I forget my humanity? This thought started to prick her mind. Ranjani was lying in her room. Her head was buzzing with all these thoughts. She picked up her phone and called Bharat. Bharat, for some reason, my heart is aching a lot today, she began. I've had enough of hearing about your pain for a week now. I don't even know if you've shed any tears, but my eyes are flooded enough to create a whole river, he replied. Go away. I won't talk to you anymore, she said angrily and cut the call. Bharat immediately called back. Ranju, why do you call me and then cut the call? If you really want to cut something, just cut my throat instead. Don't torture me like this, he said dramatically. You just make fun of everything. I've been overthinking and feeling miserable for a whole week. Even my mother is suffering. I feel like coming to home was a bad choice, she admitted. Rajni, back in college, you were always cheerful. Whenever I didn't call, you'd ask, Chinnu, darling, don't you care about me anymore? Buy me ice cream. Let's go to a movie today. You always found ways to pass time. But now, all I hear from you is about your household troubles. My pain won't stop until this problem is solved. Bharat, she said firmly. All right, then I have a solution. If you agree, I'll execute it tomorrow itself. But I need your help, he said. What's the plan? She asked. Tomorrow, take your mother out to a restaurant for dinner. Also, call your father and ask him to come there. After that, leave the rest to me. Are you trying to reunite them? I already told you it's impossible, she said. Just do as I say, madam. Don't just criticize me, he replied. Fine, but what if your plan backfires? She asked, feeling nervous. Then there will be only one option left. What option? If they both are there at the restaurant and they agree to my condition, then great. If not, we'll grant them a grand divorce right there. What do you mean? She asked. You know how couples get a divorce to separate? Similarly, a grand divorce will permanently separate you from them. What makes you think they will reunite? If they wanted to, they would have done so long ago. There is no love between them, only anger and hatred. If we try to bring them back together, it will cause an earthquake, she said. See, there's an old saying that women have wisdom only till their knees. But don't you understand a subtle truth here? They might have anger and hatred, but after their divorce, did either of them get remarried? No, right? Have you ever thought about why? No, right? Then how can you say for sure that there's only hatred between them? You make a good point, Ranjani admitted. They do have anger and hatred, but it's just love-filled anger. It's the frustration of not being valued by the other person. The real reason for all their problems is that they are apart, but they haven't realized it yet. We need to make them understand that. How do we do that? She asked. The real cause of their distress is their loneliness, not you. But they don't even realize it. Your father might be busy with his social work, but he loves you as much as your mother does. He calls you every day, but you are the one keeping your distance. If he ever misses a call, you get restless and call me to complain. My dad didn't call me today. If he loves you this much, imagine how much he still loves your mother. Just call him and ask him to come to the restaurant tomorrow at 7 p.m. where your mother will be. If you invite him, he won't say no. You know so much about my family. You are amazing. I love you, she said and kissed him over the phone. A kiss over the phone is not enough. When we meet tomorrow, you owe me at least 100 kisses, he teased. Why 100? I'll give you 1,000, she laughed. All right, but your responsibility is to bring them both to the restaurant. Leave the rest to me, he said. That's not a big task. If I call them now, they'll both come. They're just taking their time to talk to me again, she said. All right then, he said and hung up the call. That night at dinner, as usual, a heavy silence hung between Smrithi and Ranjani. Smrithi remained quiet, knowing that any word from her would be met with a sharp response. On the other hand, Ranjani had no interest in talking to her mother. But today, she had no choice. She had to speak. Even after half the meal, not a single word escaped her lips. They finished eating and washed their hands. Smrithi was about to leave for her room after cleaning the dishes when Ranjani finally broke the silence. Amma. There was no excitement in her voice, just a plain utterance of the word. You said last week that we should go to a restaurant for dinner. Let's go tomorrow night, she said. Smrithi was happy to hear this, but still couldn't fully trust her intentions. Why this sudden change of mind? That day, you ignored me completely, and now you've changed your mind. Why? She asked. Don't ask me why. But I'll agree to come on one condition, Ranjani said. What condition? Smrithi asked. I'll come only if Dad comes with us. Otherwise, I'm not coming, she declared. In that case, forget about going anywhere. For you, your father is always more important than me, right? Go with him then, Smrithi said in disappointment, turning to walk toward her room. Ranjani followed her and grabbed her shoulder, stopping her. Standing in front of her mother, she asked, Why not? Amma, tell me, don't I have the right to sit and eat with my parents? I, too, want a family like everyone else. What right do you have to snatch that dream away from me? There might be anger and hatred between you two. But can't you at least do this much for your daughter? Why did you even bring me into this world? Ranjani let out her frustration like an arrow hitting its target. This is my right. I'm not a little girl anymore. I have my own desires and dreams. If you don't have them, that's your problem. But if you can't make even this small sacrifice for your daughter's happiness, then, I'm sorry, Amma. I think you're the worst mother in the world, she said. Her words cut deep into Smriti's heart, but it was her final sentence that made her furious. Without thinking, she slapped Ranjani across the face. But Ranjani just laughed and retorted, What else do you know other than hitting me? You're a lawyer. You can argue in court and win cases with legal points. But do you ever think about how you've lost in life? That's the saddest part, isn't it? Tears welled up in Smriti's eyes. I don't want to hurt you any further, Amma. But I'll say just one thing. Tomorrow, you are coming with me. If you don't, I will leave and never come back. You will never see me again. Saying this, Ranjani walked into her room and sat down. Smriti stood there, shaken. Her daughter's words had left a deep wound in her heart. But every single word was true. An hour later, Tanuj called her, as he did every day. But Ranjani only answered his calls when she felt like it. Sometimes, she would talk for hours, and other times, she wouldn't pick up for months. But today, she was waiting for his call. The moment it rang, she answered, Dad, don't say anything. I have something to tell you. Tomorrow night, Amma and I are going to a restaurant for dinner. You have to come. If you make excuses and say you're busy with work, then you will never see your daughter again. I will leave the country and disappear forever. You've been longing to see me for years. You call me every day, hoping I'll answer. Well, I'm giving you a chance. Dad, you have to come tomorrow. Show me how much you love me. If you don't, then don't ever call me again. Don't hurt me anymore, she said and immediately cut the call, not giving him a chance to respond. Whatever happens tomorrow, she thought, she wouldn't find peace until this issue was resolved. She lay on her bed, curling up in pain. Whether sleep came or not, her sorrow kept overflowing. The white bed sheet was soaked with her tears.